6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really big one, rising unemployment. It's a major challenge, for people and for the economy as a whole.
Absolutely.
Our goal here is to kind of cut through the noise, get to the heart of why this is happening, and look at some potential ways forward. We're drawing on this really insightful essay.
Right. Think of it as a quick guide to a complex topic. We want to give you the core ideas, the main drivers, and some solid thoughts on solutions.
Okay, let's jump right in. So the essay first points to technology. Things like automation, AI. They're not just in factories anymore, right?
No, exactly. That's a key shift. Manufacturing was sort of the classic example, but now we're seeing it much more in, say, customer service roles, algorithms, handling calls, that kind of thing.
It's pretty widespread. And the pace, it seems to be picking up speed.
It really is. And it's not just like simple repetitive tasks anymore. AI can handle more complex stuff now, which, potentially impacts a much wider range of jobs than before.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. Okay, then there's the old classic economic downturns, recessions.
Mm-hmm.
The cycle. Right. When the economy slows down, businesses, they struggle. Margins get tight.
And that leads pretty directly to layoffs, or at least hiring freezes. It's a fairly straightforward link.
And that can kind of feed on itself, can it? Less employment means less spending, which means the economy slows even more.
Precisely. A negative feedback loop. It can be hard to break out of.
The essay also brings up skills, or rather, the lack of the right skill.
The skills gap, yeah.
You might have jobs open, maybe in tech or healthcare, but the people looking for work, they don't have the qualifications needed for those specific roles.
It really highlights how important education and training systems are. Are they keeping up? Are they flexible enough to adapt to what the market actually needs?
Good question. Are we training for tomorrow's jobs or yesterday's?
That's the core of it, really.
And one last cause mention is overpopulation, specifically in really dense areas.
Right, high population density.
Where you just have way more people than available jobs. It becomes simple math, almost. Too much supply of labor and not enough demand.
Yeah, the competition just gets incredibly intense. And you also have to think about whether the infrastructure and just general economic development in those places can even support the population size. Limited resources can make it even tougher.
Okay, so that covers the why. Let's pivot to solutions. What does the essay suggest? First up seems to be education and skills again.
Makes sense. If skills are the problem, they're also part of the solution.
Right. So this means things like governments investing more strategically, updating what schools teach, expanding vocational training, getting people ready for the industries that are actually growing.
And it can't be a one-off thing. It needs to be about continuous learning, opportunities to reskill, upskill throughout your career. Things change so fast.
Definitely. Then there's entrepreneurship, supporting people starting their own businesses.
Yeah, I like this one. Instead of just relying on existing jobs, help people create new ones.
How? Well, things like financial aid, maybe easier access to loans, business training, mentorship, that sort of support system.
And often these new businesses are where innovation happens.
Right.
They can tap into totally new markets or technologies.
Good point. Okay, what else? Economic policies from the government.
Right, the bigger picture stuff.
Like tax incentives, maybe, for companies that are hiring, or investing in big infrastructure projects, roads, bridges, maybe green energy stuff that creates jobs directly and indirectly.
It's about creating an environment where businesses feel confident enough to expand and will hire more people, stimulating growth.
And finally, the essay circles back to the individual level. Adapting to technology.
You can't just wait for things to happen to you.
Exactly. It stresses that workers need to be proactive, seeking out training, learning new skills, embracing this idea of lifelong learning to, stay relevant.
It's really about building resilience, understanding that the job you have today might look very different in 5 or 10 years or might not even exist. So you need to be ready to adapt.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. The essay suggests unemployment stems from a mix of things. Tech changes, economic slumps, skills not matching jobs, and sometimes just too many people competing for too few spots.
Right. A complex mix.
And the solutions are similarly varied. Investing in education and ongoing training, making it easier to start businesses, using economic policy to boost growth, and individuals taking responsibility for their own adaptability.
It really underscores that there's no single magic bullet. It requires everyone pulling together, individuals, companies, policymakers.
Absolutely. It's a multi-layered problem needing a multi-layered response. So we've unpacked the main points from the essay on this really important topic.
Hopefully giving you a clearer picture.
Right. And to leave you with something to think about, given how fast technology is changing, what steps can you personally start taking now to make sure your own skills and career path are, well, future-proof? Something to mull over.
6-Minute Podcast.